All right. So it's a new day. You know, I'm pretty sure, I'm about 90% sure that I had a satanic cult come after me. And a coven, whatever. And they never work alone. If it's false doctrine, if it's an attack, they never work alone. They can't work alone because the flesh is nothing but sin, and they can't be alone. They have to have other people helping them. They can never work alone. The spirit-filled person can be alone and work alone and function alone because you got God. God is always with you, but the flesh mind, the cults and the isms, they don't have God. They might use the word God, but which God are they talking about? Are you talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? But I've been under attack my whole life. And so it had to culminate to a major attack. I mean, you see little attacks here. So as you're going through your growth process spiritually, the attacks, as you grow, the attacks grow. Just like the Flash series, if you ever watch the Flash series, you'll see that his enemies got stronger. The enemies of the Flash got stronger, and they got more subtle, and they became more trickster-like, the mimics, One of the tricks that they tried recently is to make you think that you didn't have everything you needed when you got everything you need right where you're at. Now, it was probably my own thought, thinking, I need this, or I need this, or I need this now, when actually you have everything you need right now. So back in July and August, I was thinking, I'm tired of this city. I'm tired of doing the same kind of work I've always done. And even though I'm good at it, I had to fix had to fix a tub spout. I don't know how they messed it up, but you couldn't turn it, and you couldn't take it off like with the Allen wrench and just pull it off and change it. I had to take the sawzall and cut the whole thing off. But I got it done in like 30 minutes or less. And so when you're good at something, maybe that's God's calling in your life. If you're in a city, maybe that's God's calling in your life. If you're in a trade or a career, maybe that's God's calling. Maybe, yeah, there might be something that can make more money out there, but be content in all things, he says. So a lot of times we do it to ourselves. We think we need something else, and the devil only can reach in if there's some lack. In other words, you think you have a lack. In other words, Jesus said, the devil's coming to tempt me, told his disciples, but he has nothing in me. So if the devil can get in, there's something in you that he grabbed hold of. And one of the things that he grabs hold of is you need something out there. You need something else. Or there's something lacking or something. And remember, he can only use the world, the flesh, and the pride of life. Those are the three tools that the devil uses every time. The world, the flesh, and the pride of life. And these agents, these cult members, and all cults and all isms are derivatives of the Freemason Jesuit system. So even would you say that would the Wiccans be the first cult? Because the devil told Eve, hath God said, she became the first witch, Hath God said? Was Eve the first Freemason? Free my son. Free my son. Cain was the first Freemason, and Eve was the first witch. But Adam pulled her up out of that. God pulled them out of it, and they both got saved. So through her seed, her seed points back to Jesus, you know. So God allows you to go through stuff, and He allows you to go through it to scourge you, spank you, show you something on the inside. It's really not, they really can't touch you. They can't really mess with your mind, your will, your emotions, your intellect, nothing, unless you believe the fake reality bubble, Genesis 3. So it's really not the other person, it's not the cult, it's in here. They can't get in unless they can get you to believe some scarcity lie, and I'm not talking about necessarily money, that you don't have everything you need. So the scarcity lie is not just food or money or water that the systems, but it's also something within you. You have everything you need. But the cults, occults and cults, so the cult and the occult will put something in front of you that you think you need when you don't even need it. And it's actually probably going to cost you more in the long run if you try to step into it, you know. I'm taking some creatine, and it's like a lemon type taste. I put it in tea, so I'm gonna get me 2 teas. And when I get to the house, take that creatine. If anybody ever has not ever tried creatine, you ought to try it, you know. It also gives you your electrolytes. Google creatine, study that. Google magnesium citrate, study that. And also magnesium glycinate, it'll help you. So what you got to do, let's say a cult or an occult or a secret society or a satanic cult or whatever put on that fake face to try to pull you into some kind of trap or some kind of, you know, fake reality. Hey.
Do you have a name for your order?
Ronald.
Ronald?
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
You still doing breakfast, right?
Yes, we are.
I don't have a menu, so
I can get you a menu.
If the devil can make you believe that you need something else out there that you don't already have because you have everything in Christ, then I mean, and a lot of times you're content and you're just going about your business and the snake appears. And the snake is a smooth talker. And you're like, oh, okay. Although there are red flags, but you're like, well, maybe I can help them see this. Maybe I can help them see past that or see through that. But I promise you, if a person can't rightly divide the word, like if you're talking and they can't hear you, it's because they don't have the spirit of truth. If they can't rightly divide the word of truth, when you're explaining it very clearly and they can't hear you, then that's a big red flag right there. Most people are out for just pleasure, the world, the flesh, the pride of life, you know, an image. So you're trying to do what's healthy, right? If you're saved, you're growing spiritually, and especially if you've decoded down the source, you know, it's all about health, whole, complete, holiness. love your neighbors yourself, mind your own business and all that stuff. So when you really dig down to the root spiritually, you know it's about being content with all that you have, love your neighbors yourself, mind your own business. Live a life that's really conservative in regards to even spending money and everything. Once you really get into fasting, it'll change your life. It'll blow your mind. Vitamins, fasting, health stuff, growing on the inside, becoming a better person, longevity, truth in the inward parts. Not a people pleaser, not out here to be seen, but everything points to Jesus. We're lifting Jesus up, not ourselves. And so when you have grown and you're putting Jesus first, what's the devil going to do? He's going to come in very subtle and try to dangle a fruit out here. You need this to be happy. I'm already happy. You need this house. I already have a house. You need this job. I already got a job. You need this woman. Well, I've been married before. I already know the end game. Unless she's spirit filled, I already know the end game. So let me just try the spirits. Unless she's spirit filled, it ain't gonna work. I already played that game a couple times. But the devil will dangle a Delilah or Jezebel or something. You need this. Well, I've already done that. Unless that person's spirit filled, it ain't gonna work. You can't yoke up with the unsaved, and you can't yoke up with false doctrine. I promise you. If there's a born again man or woman out there that's considering yoking up with somebody who has false doctrine and false teaching, and they're under some kind of mama or daddy or bloodline or culture lie, curse, like a Pentecostal curse or some kind of denomination that's just, it might not look cultic, but they follow that tradition. Instead of having their own beliefs, they follow somebody else's beliefs, Unless they're able to rightly divide in their spirit and understand, hey, this is a spiritual warfare. If man or woman, if you're thinking about marrying somebody, they don't know the spiritual warfare that's going on around you, you'll never win with that person because they'll think you're crazy. They'll try to lock you up and you'll say, no, this is spiritual. We're in a spiritual warfare right now. Can't you see it? If we're arguing, it's a spiritual warfare. If your mama or your daddy or your brother or your sister's trying to get in, or our neighbors or your friends trying to get into this marital situation, or we're trying to praise God, serve God, worship God, put God first. It's not about magnifying ourselves. And if they can't see that battle, you better not marry that person, because it's a real battle. If you're okay, let's say it this way. What's God's program right now? To win souls. And if you got somebody who doesn't understand that, it's all about winning souls, they're going to be jealous, they're going to be mad, they're going to be fighting, arguing, they're caught up in the world system, and it's just going to be war. I'm not saying you put all your time into it, but let's say you're putting 10% of your time to winning souls, but you're always ready, you're 100% in And if somebody needs some truth, you're willing to stop and talk to them and give them some truth, you know. Now, I had this trash. I'm going to give you an example of how this works. So I had this trash in my car, and I wanted to throw it out because it got crumbs. And I said, well, maybe there's a trash can without a lid. Because I saw one, then I can just throw it in the trash. And look at this, here's a dumpster right here. And there's one without the lid. I could have used that one. I thought, well, maybe there's a trash can with the lid off, and there it appears. I had 3 of them appear, but big dumpster right there. Whatever you need is here now. The lamb slain before the foundation of the world. Any kind of problem that you need. So I had this trash sitting here, that had crumbs, and this is a rideshare car, and I didn't want the crumbs to get everywhere. So I rolled down the window. I dumped out the crumbs, and I was looking for a trash can, and there it was, you know, to throw into the trash can. And what I was looking for was like this situation here with the lid, and I was just going to do this. But I was going to throw it in the trash can, but there was a dumpster, a big dumpster right there. But the thing that you need is already there. And so this truth, I decoded this truth that before the problem appears, the solution was already there. So then the satanic cult comes in and gives you what looks like the real deal, what looks like a completion, a spirit-filled completion, and come to find out, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. So it always goes back to narcissism. They mirror, they study you, they see what you're looking for, what you want, what you are, or what you might want. They don't really know unless, you know, they can just listen to you. And they put thoughts through their cult members. They can put thoughts in your mind, you know. And so the discerning of how the devil has been around a long time. So the devil's going to send something or somebody to try to make you think you need them or something to that effect. Homegirls in my driveway. She used to be mean, now she's waving all the time. She's been my mail lady for 15 years, I think. She's been doing the mail here for 15 years. I can't believe she ain't retired. The post office worked those people to death, I promise you. USPS is not playing games. When you do rideshare and pick some of them up, they tell you the stories. They'll work them 12, 14-hour days, 7 days a week if they'll let them. Something happened to her. She might have got saved because she used to just look at you in the face like she was mad at you. And I used to have a Bible verse right here on this fence, John 3:16. And I know she had to see it, so anyway, I don't want to get off track. So the cults and the isms try to make you think you have lack when you really have everything you need. You need this, and they dangle it in front of you. You need this. Here, you need this. And then when you go and you take a bite out of it, you realize, I don't really need that. There's no peace in that. I actually had it better before I took the bite. I think I'm going back to my peaceful life, peace like a river, you know. And so then the devil gets mad because you took a bite. The Pharaoh gets mad and can't control you, so they chase after you and try to kill you because you took a bite and it wasn't really what you what it was. It wasn't what it looked like, It looked like an apple, but it ended up being a plastic apple. It looked like a real apple. They hang it out here and dangle it out here. Here's an apple. When you bite it, it's a plastic apple. Wasn't even a real apple. And that's how the devil pulls you in. And you have to go through the process of, because the fake reality is life will be a lot better now with this apple. And then you take a bite and it was a fake apple, and you go back and you say, well, I want to go back to my other life, which was real and very peaceful. And I think, but then the Pharaoh has to chase you down because they don't want you to be free, Like, and you can see this on I've had enough jobs where if you put your 2-week notice in on a job, they'll say, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving? Don't leave us. We love you. We need you. Well, you didn't act that way from the get-go. And now when you realize that y'all need me more than I need y'all, now you're changing your tune, right? It's the same way on a job, same way in a fake wife, a fake church, a fake occult. It's the same game. They all have to play the game of the Pharaoh. They need you more than you need them. Why would the Pharaoh chase the Israelites in the desert? Because they didn't want to do the work. They needed the slaves to do the work for them.